for the rain it raineth every day, with a high hold the wind and the rain, and the rain it raineth every day.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final Wheel of Shakespeare challenge for the month of February. I am here with Bill, Henry, Ted, John, and Maggie here to do impromptu Shakespeare performance, and Sheila, who just joined us. Glad she's here. So we are about to get started. Let me bring the wheel up, and we will, and based on the randomly chosen order, John is going to perform for us first, and then Sheila is on deck. She'll go after him. I'm searching for the screen share of the. Here we go. Okay, so let's find John, add him to the stream. Hello, John. You will be going first, and you will be performing. Marie's I did with No Prisoners. That's Henry IV, Part 1, Act 1, Scene 3.
I'm having, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
I'm having so much trouble because Bing comes on my screen and it seems to keep me from doing anything.
Oh, really?
Let me see here. So what scene was it? Scene 1?
Act 1, Scene 3 of Henry IV, Part 1.
Okay. Let me see here. What's the one we use? Let me type it in. What's the one that we use? What's the one that we use for Shakespeare?
Shakespeare.mit.edu.
MIT. Okay, here. Let me just see here if I can get this. Oh yeah, I think I did. Okay.
Okay, so whenever you're ready.
Yeah, Henry IV, Part 1, Act 1, Scene 3. Oh, okay. And then who am I?
You're Hotspur. The monologue begins with "My liege, I did deny no prisoners."
Okay. Is it down a little bit? Oh, here it is. I got it. All right. Thank you. My liege, I did deny no prisoners. But I remember when the fight was done, when I was dry with rage and extreme toil, breathless and faint, leaning upon my sword, come there a certain lord, neat and trimly dressed, fresh as a bridegroom, and his chin new reaped showed like a stubble-headed harvest hoe. He was perfumed like a milliner, and twixt his finger and his thumb he held a pouncet box, which ever and anon he gave his nose and took away again. Who therewith angry when it next came there, took it and snuffed, and still he smiled and talked, and as the soldiers bore dead bodies by, he called them untaught knaves, unmannerly, to bring a slovenly, unhandsome course betwixt the wind and his nobility. With many holiday and lady terms he questioned me. Amongst the rest, demanded my prisoners in your majesty's behalf. I then, all smarting with my wounds being cold, to be so pestered with a popinjay, out of my grief and my impatience, answered neglectingly I know not what. He should or he should not for he made me mad to see him shine so brisk and smell so sweet, and talk so like a waiting gentlewoman of guns and drums and wounds. God save the mark, and telling me the sovereignest thing on earth was Parmaceti for an unword bruise, and that it was a great pity, so it was, this villainous saltpeter should be digged out of the bowels of his harmless earth, which many a good tall fellow had destroyed so cowardly. But for these vile guns, he would himself have been a soldier. This bald, unjointed chat of his, my lord, I answered indirectly as I said, and I beseech you, let not his report come current for an accusation betwixt my love and your majesty.
Okay, very nice. So up next we have Sheila, and then on deck after her will be Bill. So Bill will go next after Sheila does. Oh, different antagonist in the same play, back to back.
All right.
This is the conclusion of the scene after address to the audience about how he's going to mend his ways from what you've seen him do with Falstaff. So the Act 1, Scene 2, the scene just before the one that John was doing. Whenever you're ready.
Mm-hmm. I know you all, and will while uphold the unyoked humor of your idleness. Yet herein will I imitate the sun, who doth permit the base contagious clouds to smother up his beauty from the world, that when he please again to be himself, being wanted, he may be more wondered at by breaking through the foul and ugly mists of vapors that did seem to strangle him. If all the year were playing holidays, to sport would be as tedious as to work. But when they seldom come, they wished for come, and nothing pleases but rare accidents. So, when this loose behavior I throw off and pay the debt I never promised, by how much better than my word I am, by so much shall I falsify men's hopes, and like bright metal on a sullen ground, my reformation, glittering o'er my fault, shall show more goodly and attract more eyes than that which hath no foil to set it off. I'll so offend to make offense a skill, redeeming time when men think least. I will.
Hey, awesome. So Bill, you're up, and then I'm on deck. I will go after Bill does.
The spade.
Yeah, last time you spun this years ago, you said you were off book for this one even.
I did what?
I think you said that you know this one by heart, right?
Well, I used to. Let's see if I can still do it.
Okay. Well, great one to have spun. So whenever you're ready, go ahead.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. At first, the infant, mewling and puking in the nurse's arms. And then the whining schoolboy with his satchel and shining morning face creeping like snail unwillingly to school. And then the lover, sighing like furnace with a woeful ballad made to his mistress's eyebrow. Then a soldier, full of strange oaths and bearded like the pard, jealous in honor, sudden and quick in quarrel, seeking the bubble, reputation, even in the cannon's mouth. And then the justice, in fair round belly, with good capon lined, with eyes severe and beard of formal cut, full of wise saws and modern instances, and so he plays his part. The sixth stage shifts into the lean and slippered pantaloon, with spectacles on nose and pouch on side, his youthful hose well saved, a world too wide for his shrunk shank. And his big manly voice, turning again toward childish treble, pipes and whistles in his sound. Last scene of all that ends this strange, eventful history is second childishness and mere oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so it's my turn now, and then let's see, Ted, you're on deck. Ted will go after me, then Maggie, and then we'll start our scene. We'll spin for our scenes. So I am going to do. Oh, maybe not old man. Actually, I think this is one I just recently added to the wheel, and so I'm going to be the first to do it. I know thee not, old man. Fall to thy prayers. How ill white hair has become a fool in gesture. I have long dreamed of such a kind of man, so surfeit swelled as old and so profane. But being awaked, I do despise my dream. Make less thy body hence, and more thy grace. Leave gormandizing. Know the grave doth gape for thee thrice wider than for other men. Reply not to me with a fool-born jest. Presume not that I am the thing I was. For God doth know, so shall the world perceive, that I have turned away my former self. So will I those that kept me company. When thou dost hear, I am as I have been, approach me, and thou shalt be as thou wast, the tutor and the feeder of my riots. Till then I banish thee, on pain of death. All I have done the rest of my misdeeds, not to come near our person by 10 miles. For competence of life I will allow you, that lack of means enforce you not to evil. And as we hear you do reform yourselves, we will, according to your strengths and quantities, give you advancement. Be at your charge, my lord, to see perform the terror of our word. Set on. interesting the coupling of what the wheel did for this was basically the same character doing what he said he was going to do in the monologue that Shelia did. Okay, so Ted, you're up. And Ted is going to do Claudio, Measure for Measure. I But to Die. Act 3, Scene 1. So whenever you're ready.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Okay. I but to die and go we know not where, to lie in cold obstruction and to rot, the sensible warm motion to become a kneaded clod, and the delighted spirit to bathe in fiery floods, or to reside in thrilling region of thick-ribbed ice, to be imprisoned in the viewless winds and blown with restless violence round about the pendant world, or to be worse than worst, of those that lawless and in certain thought imagine howling, 'tis too horrible, the weariest and most loathed worldly life, that age, ache, penury, and imprisonment can lay on nature is a paradise to what we fear of death. Scene.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so we have left Maggie and then Henry, and then we'll spin for some scenes. So Maggie is going to do
Act 2,
Act 2, Scene 1. Whenever you're ready.
Yes. All righty. Is this a dagger which I see before me, the handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind, a false creation, proceeding from the heat oppressed brain? I see thee yet, in form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now o'er one half world nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, with whose howls his watch, thus with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides, towards his design moves like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my whereabout, and take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whiles I threat, he lives. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
Love it. Awesome. So Henry will do our final monologue before we spin for scenes, and he is going to be doing... Olivia and Twelfth Night. Oh, what a deal of scorn looks beautiful. Act 3, Scene 1. So, Act 3, Scene 1 begins with oh, what a deal of scorn.
Yeah, okay. I found it, yeah.
Okay, great. So whenever you're ready.
Oh, what a deal of scorn looks beautiful in the contempt and anger of his lip. A murderous guilt shows not itself more soon than love that would seem hid. Love's night is noon. Cesario, by the roses of the spring, by maidenhood, honour, truth, and everything, I love thee so, that, maugre of thy pride, not wit nor reason can my passion hide. Do not extort thy reasons from this clause, for that I woo, thou therefore hast no cause, but rather reason thus with reason fetter. Love sought is good, but given unsought, better. End of speech.
Okay, great. So having all 7 of us done our monologues, let's bring up the other wheel to see what scenes we can assign some roles to. Act 1, Scene 3. Tempest by Antonio and Sebastian. That's Act 2, Scene 1. I believe this is where they're trying to get them to kill the king, and Ariel intervenes. Great scenes there. So, okay, so there's 7 of us. So, so the 7 will go in reverse order from which you performed. We'll get to choose 7 things to choose from. Antony or Cleopatra in Act 1, Scene 3, Antonio or Sebastian in The Tempest, Scene 1, Macbeth or Lady Macbeth, and then the last choice, you can do it if you don't like what's left when it's your turn to choose. Doing a second monologue will be the seventh choice. So Henry went last, so he'll get the first choice amongst those. Henry, what would you like to do?
Cleopatra, please.
Okay, so Henry will be Cleopatra. Maggie,
Then I'll play Antony.
Okay, so the two of you will start us off then. So Maggie and Henry will start us off with Antony and Cleopatra. And let's see, Ted gets the next choice. Ted, what would you like?
A Macbeth.
Okay, Ted will be Macbeth. I will take, I'm going to take Antonio in The Tempest. So what we have left, we have Lady Macbeth, Sebastian, and doing a second monologue. It's Bill's turn to choose. Bill, what would you like?
I think I'll try Lady Macbeth.
Okay. Sheila.
I'll tell you what, I'll do a second monologue.
Okay, so Sheila will do a second monologue, and then that leaves, so it'll be John, that leaves you to be Sebastian. So, John. So, okay, so what we've got here, we're going to start with Maggie and Henry doing Antony and Cleopatra. Then myself and John will do Antonio and Sebastian. Then Ted and Bill will do Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. And then Sheila will do a second monologue.
One brief comment, please, if I may. If my telephone rings, I have to do this. It'll only take about 4 minutes. My suggestion would be that perhaps somebody else, if I leave, perhaps we can assign somebody else just to take my part over. Is that a good suggestion?
Okay, yeah. If you have to leave, we'll do that.
Okay, it's very important.
We'll spin if we lose you, we'll spin the wheel for who's going to perform a second time and be a partner in this one. Okay, so we'll start with Maggie and Henry. Let me create the banner for you guys. Have you found where to start from?
I have.
Yes. What I'd like to do, we'll start at I am sick and sullen, right?
Correct. That's what I'm thinking.
But what I'd like to do is I'd like to do just that other speech just before I am sick and sullen. So I'll go. See where he is, because it just sets the scene. So I'll do those 4 lines, and then I'll do I'm sick and sullen, and then you can come in, right?
Sure. I can't see you. I'm just looking at the play, so right. I'll listen.
So, Mark, would you take Anthony out? Because I'd like to do 4 lines before he comes in, just to set the scene.
It's another character that you want to cast me as?
No,
it's Cleopatra.
So I don't understand what you're asking me.
I shouldn't be in the scene yet. Anthony's not in the scene yet. He wants to set it up with Cleopatra just several lines before, and then I'll come in. We'll skip Charmian.
Okay.
That make sense?
So you bring Maggie back on when I say it's only 4 lines, but I'll say that I am sudden sick, quick, and return. Then Anthony comes in. Okay. Are we ready to go? See where he is, who's with him, what he does. I did not send you. If you find him sad, say that I am dancing. If in mirth, report that I am sudden sick. Quick, and return. Ah, I am sick and sullen.
I am sorry to give breathing to my purpose.
Help me away, dear Charmian, I shall fall. I cannot be thus long. The sides of nature will not sustain it.
Now, my dearest queen.
Pray you, and stand further from me.
What's the matter?
I know, by that same eye, there's some good news. What says the married woman? You may go. Would she had never given you leave to come. Let her not say, 'tis I that kept you here. I have no power upon you. Hers you are.
The gods best know.
Oh, never was there queen so mightily betrayed. Yet at the first I saw the treasons planted.
Cleopatra.
Why should I think you can be mine and true, though you in swearing shake the throned gods who have been false to Fulvia? Riotous madness to be entangled with those mouth-made vows which break themselves in swearing.
Most sweet queen.
Nay, pray you, see no colour for your going, but bid farewell and go. When you sued staying, there was a time for words. No going then. Eternity was in our lips and eyes, bliss in our brows bent. None of our parts so poor, but was a race of heaven. They are so still, or thou, the greatest soldier in the world, art turned the greatest liar.
How now, lady?
I would I had thy inches, thou shouldst know there were a heart in Egypt.
Hear me, queen. The strong necessity of time commands our services a while, but my full heart remains in use with you. Our Italy shines o'er with civil swords. Sextus Pompeius makes his approaches to the port of Rome. Equality of two domestic powers breeds scrupulous faction. The hated, grown to strength, are newly grown to love. The condemned Pompey, rich in his father's honor, creeps apace into the hearts of such as not have thrived upon the present state, whose numbers threaten. And quietness, grown sick of rest, would purge by any desperate change. My more particular, and that which most with you should safe my going, is Fulvia's death.
Though age from folly could not give me freedom, it does from childishness. Can Fulvia die?
She's dead, my queen. Look here, and at thy sovereign leisure read the garboil she awaked, at the last best see when and where she died.
Oh, most false love! Where be the sacred vials thou shouldst fill with sorrowful water? Now I see in Fulvia's death how mine received shall be.
Quarrel no more, but be prepared to know the purposes I bear, which are, or cease, or shall you give the advice? By the fire that quickens Nilus slime, I go from hence thy soldier, servant, making peace or war as thou affectest.
Cut my lace, Charmian, come. But let it be. I am quickly ill and well, so Antony loves.
My precious queen, forbear, and give true evidence to his love, which stands as honorable trial.
So Fulvia told me. I prithee, turn aside and weep for her, then bid adieu to me, and say the tears belong to Egypt. Good now, play one scene of excellent dissembling, and let it look life, perfect honor.
You'll heat my blood, no more.
You can do better yet, but this is meetly.
Now by my sword.
And target, still he mends, but this is not the best. Look, prithee, Charmian, how this Herculean Roban does become the carriage of his chaff.
I'll leave you, lady.
Courteous lord, one word. Sir, you and I must part, but that's not it. Sir, you and I have loved, but that's not it. That you know well. Something it is I would, oh, my oblivion is a very Antony, and I am all forgotten.
But that your royalty holds idleness your subject, I should take you for idleness itself.
'Tis sweating labour to bear such idleness so near the heart as Cleopatra this. But, sir, forgive me, since my becomings kill me when they do not eye well to you. Your honour calls you hence, therefore be deaf to my unpitied folly. And all the gods go with you. Upon your sword sit laurel victory, and smooth success be strewn before your feet.
Let us go. Come. Our separation so abides and flies that thou, residing here, goest yet with me, and I, hence fleeting, here remain with thee. Away. Thank you, Henry.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
So now we have Antonio and Sebastian. That's going to be myself and John. And if something happens and he has to leave, Sheila mentioned, instead of a second monologue, she can take that. But since she already took that, I don't want to take that away from her. I just think what I'll do is I'll just if something happens and John has to leave, I like adding to the randomness of the game. Sheila will still do that, but then we'll just I've created a wheel to, one of the 5 other players will randomly be chosen to perform with me. But hopefully John won't get called away and we'll be able to do this scene with me. Have you found where we start from where Alonzo falls asleep and it's just us watching everyone? So it'll start with your line of what a strange drowsiness possesses them.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm ready.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, you start with that line.
What a strange drowsiness possesses them.
It is the quality of the climate.
Why doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together all as by consent. They dropped as by a thunderstroke. What might, worthy Sebastian? Oh, what might? No more, and yet methinks I see it in thy face. What thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks of thee, and my strong imagination sees a crown dropping upon thy head.
What, art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakst out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say? This is a strange repose to be asleep, with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Noble Sebastian, thou lett'st thy fortune sleep, die rather, wink'st while thou art waking.
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores.
I am more serious than my custom. You must be so too, if heed me. Which to do trebles the oar.
Well, I am standing water.
I'll teach you how to flow.
Do so. To ebb hereditary sloth instructs me.
Oh, if you but know how you the purpose cherish, whiles thus you mock it. How in stripping it you more invest it. Ebbing men indeed most often do so near the bottom run by their own fear or sloth.
Pray thee, say on. The setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, sir, although this lord of weak remembrance, this who shall be of as little memory when he is earthed, hath here almost persuade. For he's a spirit of persuasion only, profess to persuade. The king, his son's alive. 'Tis as impossible that he's undrowned, and he that sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Oh, out of that no hope, what great hope have you? No hope. That way is another way so high a hope that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond, but doubt discovery there. Will you grant that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
Claribel.
She that is queen of Tunis? She that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life? She that from Naples can have no note unless the sun were post? The man in the moon's too slow, till newborn chins be rough and razorable. She that, from whom we all were sea swallowed, though some cast again, and by that destiny to perform an act whereof what's past is prologue, what to come in yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you? 'Tis true, my brother's daughter's queen of Tunis. So is she heir of Naples, twixt which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubit seems to cry out, how shall that Claribel measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis, and let Sebastian wake. Say this were death that now hath seized them. Why, they were no worse than now they are. There be that can rule Naples as well as he that sleeps, lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonzalo. I myself could make a cough of a deep a chat. Oh, that you bore the mind that I do. What a sleep were this for your advancement. Do you understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your brother Prospero.
True. And look how well my garments sit upon me, much feeter than before. My brother's servants were then my fellows. Now they are my men.
But for your conscience?
Aye, sir, where lies that? If 'twere a kibe, 'twould put me to my slipper. But I feel not this deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Milan. Candid be they, and melt ere they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon. If he were that which now he's like, that's dead. If he were that which now he's like, whom I, with this obedient steel 3 inches of it, can lay to bed forever, whiles you doing thus to the perpetual wink, for I might put the ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, who should not upbraid our course. For all the rest, they'll take suggestion as a cat laps milk. They'll tell the clock to any business that we say befits the hour.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou gotst Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword, one stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest, and I, the king, shall love thee.
Draw together. And when I rear my hand, do you the like to fall it on Gonzalo.
Oh, but one word. Oh, but one word.
Okay, Ariel enters and we're screwed. Okay, great. We're glad you were able to stay with us long enough to perform that. Thank you. Good job. That was fun. So now we have Macbeth. We have Ted and Bill are going to be Macbeth and Lady Macbeth before we. Celia's last song. So.
scene?
Act 2, scene 2.
What scene?
Act 2, 2, 2.
2, 2?
2, 2.
Okay, I'm on my cell phone now. My computer wasn't working. It starts to make me bet, yeah? Can you hear me?
Said I don't know what you're saying.
Can you hear me?
I hear you, but
What?
your voice is sort of.
I'm having problems with my...
Should I start?
Yes.
That which has made me whole. That which then has been fire. Hark! Peace. It was the owl shriek, the fatal omen that gives the stars good night. He is about it. The doors are open to the standard grooms who mock their charge with snores. I have drugged the pots, death and nature do contend about them, whether they live or die.
Who's there? What's wrong?
I'm afraid they awaken, and 'tis not done. The attempt and the confounds us. Hark! I laid the daggers ready, he could not listen. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I could have done it. Ah, my husband.
I have done the deed. Didst thou not hear a noise?
I heard the owl scream and the crickets cry. Did not you speak?
When?
Now.
As I descended?
Aye.
Hark! Who lies in the second chamber?
Donald Bain.
This is a sorry sight.
A foolish thing to say a sorry sight.
Yes. One laughs in sleep, and one cried, "Murder!" That they did wake each other. I stood there and heard them, but they did say their prayers and addressed them again to sleep.
There are two watchmen.
One cried, "God bless us," and then the other, as they had seen me with these hangman's hands, listening their fear. I could not say amen when they did say, "God bless us."
Consider it not sleep.
But wherefore could I not pronounce amen? I had most need of a blessing, and amen stuck in my throat.
These deeds must not be thought after these ways, so it will make us.
Methought I heard a voice cry, "Sleep no more. Let wrath doth murder sleep." The innocent sleep, sleep that knits up the raveled sleeve of care, the death of each day's life, sore labors past, balm of hurt lines, great nature's second course, chief nourisher, life's feast.
What do you mean?
Still it cried, "Sleep no more." To all the house, Glamis hath murdered sleep, and therefore Corda shall sleep no more. Macbeth shall sleep no more.
Who was it that thus cried? My worthy thank you to revenge the noble strength that speaks so principally of things. Go get some water and wash this filthy wooden from your hand. Did you bring these daggers? They must lie there. Go carry them. Smear the sleeping hands with blood.
I do no more. I am afraid to think what I have done. Look on it again, I dare not.
Infirm of the daggers. Sleeping in the dead are but a picture. 'Tis the eye of time that is a painted devil. If he do bleed, now deal the pieces of the groom all, for it must seem their guilt.
Whence is that knocking? How is it with me? When every noise appalls me, what hands are here? They pluck out my eyes. Will all drink Neptune's ocean wash this blood clean from my hand? No, this my hand will rather multitudinous seeds in Carnadine, making the green one red.
My hands are of your color, but ashamed to wear a heart so white. I hear nothing at the south entry. Retire we to our chamber. The water clears us of this deed. How easy is it come? Your conscience may have left you unattended. Hark, more nothing. Get on your nightgown, lift the curtain, and show us to be watching. Be not so rash, so poorly in your thoughts.
To know my deed, 'twere best not know myself. Weak Duncan, with thy knocking I would thou couldst.
Okay. And sorry about the sound problems. One of them was having, I'm not sure which one of them I was coming from, but still a great scene despite the distraction with the bad sound. But thank you. And now lastly, we have Sheila, who will perform an additional monologue to finish up today's round. For Sheila, she's going to do If the shadows have offended.
Oh, what an appropriate thing to end on.
Yeah.
Let's see.
The conclusion to Midsummer Night's Dream. Whenever you're ready, go ahead.
If we shadows have offended, think of this, and all is mended. That you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear, and this weak and idle theme, no more yielding but a dream. Gentles, do not reprehend. If you pardon, we will mend. And as I am an honest puck, if we have unearned luck now to scape the serpent's tongue, we will make amends ere long. Else the puck a liar call. So, good night unto you all. Give me your hands if we be friends, and Robin shall restore amends.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sheila. And thank you, everybody, for your good performances today. It was a lot of fun. I'll see you guys next week for the first Wheel of Shakespeare for the month of March. I'll see you guys then. Bye now.